Click for IB Biology. We're studying environmental stability and change. The change being succession, changes in the structure of our community. And here we're looking at the idea of arrested succession. And so if we think of that as being the same as stopped. And so we have changes which should be occurring, but they have been stopped in their natural development. So let's take a look at that. There's a blank version of this presentation down in the description. You can annotate that with your own notes. You can then take the quiz of 10 questions, and there's the answers there, and you can check your progress and understanding of this particular topic. So arrested succession. So my reference points here are the upland areas of the United Kingdom in comparison to the grasslands of places like the Serengeti of East Africa and the North American plains, and indeed your very own football field. So arrested succession refers to a halting or a stalling of ecological succession. So in the examples that we've seen of succession, we see them changing from one stage to the next, and starting with a pioneering community and ending with the climax community. In these examples here, the achievement of the climax community is prevented, and the common theme that you can see in all 5 pictures is grazing. So let's just take a look at each one. In the upland areas of the United Kingdom, the particular grazing animals are the sheep and deer species. And what these do is that they are grazing species. Now, if we look at 2 different sorts of plant growth, with broad-leafed flowering plants, then the growth point is usually at the apex like this. And when animals come along and eat that, they eat the top and the plant no longer grows and it dies back. With grass, however, the growth point is below the ground like this, so that when the grass is grazed down and eaten by the animals, more grass simply grows through. So broad-leafed flowering plants are eliminated and the grasses are promoted. So in the upland areas of England, shown here, and Scotland, shown here, the presence of sheep and deer grazing on the land prevents the development of broadleaf species and, of course, of forests. And so the hills of England and Scotland are opened areas of grassland. And so, in effect, they are arrested succession and represent a form of agriculture, even though they may appear to be wild areas. This is the same explanation for the existence of the grasslands and savannas of East Africa, such as the Serengeti. Here we have a large population of wildebeest grazing away, of course, with the zebras and so forth, and they exactly the same thing of the flowering species, the broadleaf species, growth point being eaten away, and only the grasses are able to grow with their growth point beneath the surface. And the same argument is sustainable with the North American plains and the herds of buffalo and bison in those areas as well. So hand in hand, these 2 natural examples at the bottom result in the major grasslands of the world, and these 2 examples at the top are examples of agricultural succession being deflected and stopped, arrested succession. And so to your football field is an example of arrested succession as well, because if we were not to cut the grass by your ground staff in your school, then what would happen is that the grass would grow taller, it would go into flower, and other broadleaf species would begin to take over and colonize the grasslands, eliminating the grass and replacing them with low shrubs and ultimately with trees. But because of the vigilance of your ground staff, they cut the grass every day or so, keeping it short, and it's in effect acting just like a herbivore would do, with the grass growing from below the surface. Arrested succession, where it's deflected from the natural sequence by the presence of grazing organisms. That's the last video in the topic of environmental stability and change. Here's the channel subscription button. Here's a link to the playlist so that you can go over that and check out the ones you may have missed. Thank you very much for watching.